I'm Jeannie Weldon, and this is another episode of Liftoff. Okay, we're back with Leora Kelman from the Boston Consulting Group. I cannot wait to have this conversation with her. Leora, thanks so much for being on the show.
It is such a delight. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Well, you know, you're in an interesting spot because just a few minutes ago, you were moderating a panel about the future of commerce media, about in-store opportunities, endemic versus non-endemic, the whole 9 yards, and now I'm interviewing you. So...
The tables are turned.
The tables are turned, and we have no questions, and we did no prep, and we have no script. So
exactly.
I can ask you for any one-worders and all the other tough questions you had. And
I've got to perform immediately. All right, I'm ready.
All right. So the earlier part was your practice run, even though you had a live show with so many people here. So let's talk about what the insights that you are bringing from this panel about what the future of commerce media, retail, and in-store is. What do you think is really going to happen in the next year?
A year is a very hard time horizon for a technology that requires as much experience in hardware as in-store does.
Yes.
I've been excited about in-store and talking about in-store for 3-4 years now and working with my clients on this. And the truth is, it's hard.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm really excited to hear about the announcement today. I think that a lot of what is necessary is tech players or partners that make it easier for retailers to say yes to in-store.
Yes.
Because right now, I think everyone kind of understands the idea, and they're like, yeah, that makes sense to me, but I have merchants. I have the problems of in-store Wi-Fi. I have the problems of in-store power. I've got CapEx, and it's hard for me to justify this versus all of the other things I'm trying to do in-store. And so I think that what it is going to take to unlock this is for a partner that makes it easier to say yes. And so I'm really optimistic about this.
I just want to hug you right now because let me tell you, when I heard about the in-store concept between Fluent and how they're working with so many companies, but also with Built and coming in store as the former CMO at Rite Aid who sat there and sat in these meetings around CapEx, around battling with merchandising teams, looking at the technology resources, I was like, it sounds like a good idea, but is it going to happen? So I called all of my old chief store officer, my chief merchandising officer from Rite Aid. I got them on calls, and I'm like, what do you think? And I have to tell you, so the chief of stores from Rite Aid, the former chief of stores from Rite Aid says, oh my God, you can actually reduce my CapEx expense. If you're bringing this hardware into store, I can upgrade something that has gotten knocked off every year. And I was watching it for year over year. We can finally bring customer experience to the store. So the fact that you're saying this and validating it makes me so excited.
You know, you heard on our panel, so much of the conversation, especially early on, was around experience and that consumer experience. And I think that generally where there's resistance to retail media is when people are concerned within the retailer, different parts of the country, whether it's NASCAR or Times Square, but you don't want to make your store feel like advertising. Right? But I think as a consumer, we experience that actually often digital screens can make things feel more modern or can be very useful and can share information that we need at the point of decision making, And so I think there's a huge win-win here. It's just been hard to break the stalemate.
Now, if you're going to move retail media in-store, who is the decision maker? Is it the ad team, the marketing team? Is it the merch team, the ops team, the CEO? Like, who's the one that needs to be like, we're doing this?
A great question. I think within a retailer, you are naive if you don't consider the merchandising team.
I just love you.
The merchants are, in any company, CPGs, retailers, everywhere, you ask who owns the P&L. Who's responsible for hitting that top line number and that bottom line number? And that is often the person that you need to convince.
Smart advice.
And so I think that, yes, it may be the retail media and the ads team that's making some of the decisions on partner selection or maybe advocating for it, maybe pushing it forward. But you're not going to get very far in most stores and most retailers unless the merchants are at least on board.
Do you see certain retail industries where you expect this to take off faster than others?
You know, you talked about being the CMO of Rite Aid. I do think that these retailers for whom their store footprint is such a big part of how they engage with the consumer. So drugstores, convenience stores, grocery stores to a degree, I think there's a really important opportunity there because so much of the sales are still in store. It's versus that sort of 80% for the industry, maybe 90% plus with these industries. I think the other really interesting one to me is places where the consumer needs information at the point of purchase. And so I'm doing a home renovation right now, so it's top of mind, but think about home improvement. I don't necessarily know what I don't know. And so having the ability to learn more about products near the point of purchase is very useful.
I think that makes so much sense. But now let's shift to success metrics. What do you feel are the success metrics that a retailer should look at to determine if in-store is working? Is it NPS score? Is it monetization, GMV? Like where?
It's a combination, and it goes back to that question of who's the decision maker, right? So yes, from a retail media perspective, you are looking at what is the monetization, what's my fill rate, what CPMs or sponsorship rates can I command? But you're also thinking about, okay, if I'm doing match store tests to look at sales lift, is this driving meaningful sales? And those two elements are going to be connected, right? So from an ads perspective, you're really trying to say, is this an effective ad product? Is it doing what I want it to do? You also want to make sure, and honestly, when I've tested this, generally, both even ads on site, but also ads in store, they can lead to, we generally don't see a loss in NPS and CSAT. And you can even in some places see an increase in cross-sell, upsell, et cetera, because of the presence of ads. And so I think you really want to make sure that you're thinking about the business holistically, because it would be unwise to sacrifice your long-term store experience and brand for short-term revenues, especially as the consumer journey is continuing to evolve.
Last question. Balance between endemic and non-endemic media. Where do you think that sits?
It's an interesting question, and I think there's non-endemic can be a very broad term. So non-endemic can be something that feels totally random, or it can be something that feels like it's in line, almost lifestyle-wise, with the brand and with the retailer. One of the things I've been so interested by is the lifestyle basket that premium credit cards are putting together, right? The Amex Platinum, the Chase Sapphire Reserve, where why does my Amex Platinum have a Lululemon, an Equinox, a Hulu, a New York Times benefit? Well, because those are all brands that I can kind of get on board with those making sense together. And so I think if you think about non-endemic, it would be weird for me at a grocery store to get an ad for life insurance, probably. But it wouldn't be that weird to get an ad for a pickup truck at a home improvement store. Right? And so thinking about sort of what are the natural complements, I think is going to be important to get non-endemic right, especially in store, where, again, merchants and retailers will be more sensitive to non-endemic.
So for a retailer that's considering to do something in store, what are 3 pieces of advice you'd give them?
So find the right partner, because if you're going to do in store, you want to do it in a fast, affordable, and just working. It needs to work. If screens are down, it's a bad experience, right? So finding the right partner, I think, is critical. Getting the right buy-in internally. So what proportion of those ads go to merchandising and category promotions and things like that, so that everyone is invested in this working. And then, depending on your size, making sure that you're really thoughtful about the sales strategy, right? Are you moving off-site into in-store? Are you trying to get non-endemic? How are you selling that? If you're selling it, what are the right partnerships that makes it feel cohesive for the consumer? And so I think really thinking about the right partner, building internal buy-in, and then having a realistic sales strategy so that you don't get complaints 12 months in that it's underperforming expectations.
Such great advice. This has really been so great speaking with you. We could talk for hours.
I know.
It's too beautiful. It's too beautiful. We need to get out and get some sun.
Indeed. Go drink some spritzes.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for being on the show. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. you.